Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Nick Cosgrove and I am back with my coaching reality series called From a Coach's Perspective. Today I want to list off the 5 things that you as a personal training client or a small group class participant should not be expected to do in the gym. And I want to be clear that this list is solely for people who are personal training clients or small group class participants who are paying for these additional services. If you yourself are watching this and you are a member of a commercial gym and you go to work out at these gyms on your own, this list does not apply to you. And you'll find out in a few seconds as to why. But one of the things that got me thinking about this episode was actually talking to a client of mine who's been with me for 15 plus years who did a drop-in class at a group class at another facility a few weeks ago. And she was telling me how she's expected to set up her circuits, tear down her circuits, go fetch her dumbbells, clean the dumbbells, all these things. And I'm just thinking, oh my God, it's something that it's not new to me. I've actually seen this happen with other group classes and other personal trainers, and it never got me thinking to the point where like this is wrong. I don't do that with my clients. And I feel like when I'm hearing one of my own clients who's having this experience, I'm like, that is not your job. When you go to a restaurant and you order your food, do you go in the back in the kitchen and cook it yourself? When you're done that meal, do you go in the back and do you go to the dish pit and clean the dishes? You're paying for a service. So it just boggles my mind that people are willing to pay for these services and think, well, I'm going for the coaching, I'm going for the accountability. I get it. But you're also going there to work out. You're not going there to clean. You're not going there to set up stations. That is the job as the trainer and the staff on site. And it really pisses me off when trainers and staff are taking advantage of this. I'm like, well, what are you actually paying for? Because half the time, a lot of these trainers are not, especially in group classes, they're not really even coaching. They're not correcting technique. Okay, they're standing there just watching. So I want to go over these 5 things. And if you yourself are a small group class participant, or maybe you work with a trainer, and you're noticing that you yourself are doing these things, start questioning that and ask your trainer, hey, why am I expected to clean up after myself when I'm paying for this service? Personal training isn't cheap. You look at the average session, it can be anywhere from $90 to $160 an hour. That's not cheap. And if you're a small group class participant, even if you're paying like a $25, $30 rate, I know that's not that much money, but you still are paying for that. And the reason why you're paying that low amount of money is because you're not getting that one-on-one attention anymore. You're maybe getting a group class of like 10 people, 20 people, or 30 people. So you're not getting that same level of coaching. But just because you're paying less does not necessarily mean that you should be expected to, well, now that you're paying less, hey, you got to clean up after yourself. You got to set up your own stations. You got to find your own modifications when, you can't do an exercise. That to me is unacceptable. And that's why I want to list off the 5 things that you as a client should not be expected to do in the gym. Starting with number 1, fetching, setting up, and putting away your own dumbbells and equipment. Why can't the trainer on site do this? Why can't the staff on site do this? What are they getting paid to do? To me, I've been doing this for 25 years. There's no job that I feel is beneath me. If I have to run a vacuum on the floor, I'll do it. If I have to pick up a piece of crap on the floor or in the bathroom, I'll do it. I don't care. Okay. Because I want to make sure that I'm providing an exceptional service to my clients that goes beyond just coaching and correcting form and technique. I want to make sure that when they come into my gym, that the experience, the entire experience, is what sets them up for success and what keeps them coming back. So if someone has to go and get their own dumbbells and they're doing, let's say, a full body workout with me, I'm going to push that person hard. And now they have to keep going back and forth, grabbing different dumbbells, or they have to start setting up their own circuits. And I'm just standing there. When I'm designing circuits for clients, whether it's in a group class or whether it's in a one-on-one or a two-on-one, I'm the one that's constantly moving, making sure I'm setting up the weights correctly, making sure I'm passing people the dumbbells, making sure that the circuits are designed accordingly for the people who are in the group class or who are in the one-on-one with me. The client's job is to do the exercises correctly. The client's job is to make sure that they're doing everything in their power to progress. In my opinion, in order to do that, you need to be laser focused. You need to be zoned in on the workout. And that's what people are paying trainers to do. And that's what people are paying their coaches, their group class participants to do. Yes, they want to learn how to work out, correct proper form, make sure they're doing technique, but at the same time, They don't want to have to worry about all the nuances of setting up a circuit or going to constantly back and forth and grab dumbbells. And to me, that's nonsense. Okay. And that's why I use that analogy with the restaurant earlier, is because people wouldn't question that. If you ordered your meal and the server said, yeah, just go in the back, cook it yourself, you would question that, right? So, but nobody's questioning it in the fitness industry. They're like, no, that's normal. I'll go get my own dumbbells. I'll go get all that. I'll set up my own circuits. No. So, like I said, if you are someone who is doing these things, I can tell you right now from someone who has been doing this for 25 years, you talk to any of my clients, none of my clients are expected to go get their own dumbbells or go set up their own circuits or tear down their circuits or put away their benches. That's nonsense. Okay. So if your trainer or your group class participant instructor is doing these things, I would seriously consider a conversation. And if they're not willing to change it, maybe work with a trainer or a group class that is actually going to have things set up for you ahead of time and is willing to do their damn job. All right. Number two thing, I shouldn't say reason, I should say the number two, whatever you want to call it, but the number two thing that you should not be doing, how about that? The number two thing that you should be not be doing or expected to be doing in the gym as a client, wiping down your own mats and equipment after class. You just worked out. You're tired. Okay. Your muscles are sore. Your heart rate's pumping. You're sweating. Why are you cleaning up? Why are you, again, go back to the restaurants industry. Are you wiping your table after you eat? No, you leave. The staff do that. The same thing in the gym. You're done. When my clients are done with the mats, I wipe them down. When my clients are done on the equipment, I wipe it down. They don't wipe it down. That's not their job. Okay. Again, to me, I'm like, why are you doing this? If you're a client, you're paying for a service. And I want to be clear here. I can still coach clients and I can still clean up after them and I can still set things up for them. I can do both. It's amazing. I can multitask. Okay. And so can your trainers. Okay. So don't feel bad and think, well, no, I should clean up because, I sweat on the mats. And I'm like, yeah, but you're paying to be here. It's very different if you are a member of a commercial gym. And yeah, you should clean up after yourself. You should wipe down the machine. You should wipe down the equipment because that is your responsibility as a member of a commercial gym. But if you are paying the additional fee to work with a trainer or to be in a group class, that service should be provided for you, period. All right. And it drives me crazy that it's not. And I think I've stayed quiet about this for years. So I'm like, yeah, well, that's just a few trainers. But then I find out, no, it's actually quite a bit of group classes out there that do this. And when I hear it from one of my own clients who experience the service, it just pissed me off. I'm like, no, I got to put out a coaching reality episode about this because I cannot honestly be the only trainer on this planet that picks up and cleans up after their clients. There's other trainers, and I'm sure it gets to them too. So just keep that in mind. It is not your job to clean up after yourself if you have a trainer or coach that is with you on the floor, or if you're in a group class. That is the job of the trainer or the staff on site, right? All right. The third thing that you should not be expected to do as a client in a gym is setting up and breaking down your own workout stations. My gym, I do a lot of circuit training for my clients. 90% of the time, even on the days where I'm on back-to-back sessions, my circuits are already set up for the client or clients who are coming in on the next hour. The reason I say 90% and not 10% is sometimes I have people late and I know they're going to be late, so I don't have their circuit set up yet because I have people who are like religiously late. But I still have their circuit set up for them when they walk in 15, 20 minutes late, always. Okay. That is my job. When we move on to a new circuit, they are resting. They're doing what I call active resting, whether that's some, dynamic stretching, whether that's going to go get some water, or maybe that's just even just visualizing the next set. Okay. Just catching their breath. I don't want them wasting precious energy and strength setting up a next circuit. I don't need them clearing the weights on a squat rack. That is my job, not their job. Period. It's not. And so if you are someone who's doing that, again, I would question that. Why are the staff not doing this? Especially if you are working in a one-on-one capacity. If you're in a group class, and I get it, if you're sharing a squat rack with somebody, okay, yeah, it would help maybe if you're clearing the bumpers back and forth and there's only one coach, I get it. But to be, you know, required to clean up after yourself and put away all your stuff and set up your own stations all the time, you do have to question where are you coming for? Because at that point, Why don't you just join a commercial gym? You're doing everything that someone who's a member of a gym would do anyway. You're setting up your own stations. You're tearing down your own stations. You're cleaning up your own equipment. So, I mean, why not just join a commercial gym? Surely you cannot just be paying for the accountability factor, right? It's important to remember that you are still paying for a service. And what is included in that service, at least in my opinion, the cleanup, setting up the circuit, taking down the circuit, putting out the benches, taking out the benches, providing towel service if your gym or if your trainer provides towel service, all those things. Because all those things just make it a little bit easier for someone to get to the gym. So you don't have to think about those things. And that's a big reason why a lot of people work with trainers too. Yes, the accountability factor is huge, but you talk to a lot of my clients, and one of the reasons is when they come to the gym, they don't have to think. Everything's set up for them. They can just focus on the workout. And don't get me wrong, that's the hard part. Working out is the hard part. I've got the easy part. I just have to make sure everything is set up and ready to go. And that's important because if I'm not set up and things are not in proper order and the weights are not selected accordingly on the machines or I'm not passing the dumbbells, that's going to slow down the workout. Slows down the workout. We don't get as much volume in. We're not working out as intense. The client doesn't get results. That's the way I look at it, period. All right. So whether or not you agree with me on that, I'm a firm believer that it is the trainer's responsibility to set up the stations. It's the trainer's responsibility to take down those stations. All right. And the fourth thing that you should not be expected to do as a client of a personal trainer in a small group class in a training facility, being expected to keep track of your own reps, rounds, and timing because the coach isn't paying attention. If you are training with a trainer or coach one-on-one, your coach, hopefully, will be able to count to 15. Not out loud, just 15. Okay. So for those coaches that like to count 1 to 15 or 1 to 12 out loud for everyone to hear, stop. It annoys the hell out of me. Okay. You can tell your client 2 more reps left, 1 more rep left, whatever, 3 reps. You don't have to count every rep. But believe it or not, a lot of my clients, they don't count their reps because they know I'm counting their reps. I don't want them counting reps. I want them zoned in on the mind to muscle connection. I'll count your reps. I'll let you know where you're at. Yeah, you got 5 reps to go, 3 reps to go. I'm going to spot you on these last 2 reps. Let's do some partial reps. Let's do some drop sets. Okay. So that's my job. Now, obviously, if I'm teaching a group, I haven't mastered counting everyone's reps at once, but what I do with group classes, I do time stations. All right, so I set the timer 45 seconds a station, 30 seconds a station, whatever muscle group we're training, and the timer goes off and people rotate. All right, it's not the client's job to say to me, how many more seconds? They'll know when they hear the timer go off. All right. So that keeps everyone in a group class on track. Now, I know a lot of group classes already do the timing, so that's great. But to me, that's important that it's not solely on the client to focus on the reps or the tempo speed or how much time is left, is that you as a coach should be checking in and saying 15 more seconds to go, 2 more reps. Okay, that is your job too. So there's a lot behind the scenes that a coach should be doing besides just counting repetitions. You should obviously be correcting the form and technique, but you should also be, as a coach, getting ready for your next station with your client, watching your client's body language. They might need a few more seconds, even if you're teaching a group class. A good group class participant, or not participant, a good group class instructor knows when to push and when to back off. So if I'm teaching a leg class and I know everyone in my leg class and I know I'm really pushing them hard, I might give them an extra, minute and a half break after 1 round. All right. Because I can tell I'm looking at their body language. All right. So it's important as a coach to be able to read people and understand when to push and when to back off. But it's not your job to be counting your reps or counting your time or any of that stuff. That is the job of the coach. That is the job of the group class instructor, period. Okay. And if they're not doing that, you might want to reevaluate the person that you're working with. All right. And the fifth thing that you should not be expected to do as a client of a personal trainer or a small group class is having to figure out your own exercise modifications. Yeah. This is why I'm also against things like ClassPass, where you just have random people show up to random classes and you don't know anything about these people. And I don't blame the group class instructor for this. How is, like, if I'm teaching a class and I don't know anyone in the class, I don't know their physical limitations, I don't know their health history, I don't know potential injuries that they currently have or they've had in the past, how do I know how to coach them? How do I know how to train them? I don't. And for me to teach a class, for me anyway, I know every single person in my class. And I've always talked about, or marketed anyway, that my classes are small group classes, no more than 8 people. Everyone who's in my small group class has trained with me at least 3 times one-on-one. I understand their health history. I know their physical limitations. I know any injuries they're currently dealing with. And I can know how to train them because I have worked with them one-on-one, so I understand how their body works. But if I had a random person show up who have never trained before, it's very difficult to do that. And I've had people bring a friend or family member, and even then, it's difficult for me to have a good understanding of how to train this person because they can tell me, yeah, I'm fairly well versed in the gym, and then I find out 5 minutes later they're throwing up in the toilet because they're telling me one thing, but then they come to my class. I'm like, no, you're not really at that level yet. And that's okay. But you have to be kind of honest with me, and they don't understand what the class is like. So that's why I've never been a big fan of these random drop-ins. I understand why a lot of gyms do it, and I understand why a lot of people partake in it. But for me, I've never joined that class pass stuff because I like to know everyone that's coming to my class. I want to know physical limitations. I want to know health history. I want to know potential injuries. Okay. I also want to know anything like you have type 2 diabetes, right? You have arthritis, you have osteoarthritis, you have tendonitis, you have bursitis, you have sciatica. These are all things that I need to know when I'm putting together a program so that I can modify things for you on the spot and it doesn't slow down the class. So if I'm doing a leg class and I have squats and I have someone who is having a, let's say they're having a sore lower back, their L4 has gone out or they have a herniated disc and they're telling me this the day of the session, day of the class. So instead of panicking, I'm like, I already know what to give this person. I already have a modification for this person because this person has told me ahead of class, hey, I'm dealing with some lower back strain right now. Can you provide some modifications for me when we do squats? Me knowing this before the class starts, I already had that person's station set up for them. Them telling me while we're just about to do squats, not good. That's going to slow down the class. If that happens, which it doesn't happen, but if it does happen, I'll ask that person to sit out the round because I'm not slowing down the class for one person. Okay. And that's important. So your trainer coach should be able to provide you with modifications. You yourself should not have to make up your own modifications because what's going to happen is if you're someone who maybe you're not well versed in anatomy and physiology, and maybe you say, well, I can't do a barbell squat, but I could probably do a front squat. I could probably do a sumo squat. Probably not. If your body's telling you not to squat that day, well, you probably shouldn't squat. But maybe you can lunge. Maybe you could do step ups. Maybe you could do Bosu squats. But as far as body weight squats, barbell squats are concerned, maybe not for you today. And a good coach, an experienced coach will know that. Okay. And I don't expect you as the client to know that. That's not your job. You did not go to school and study anatomy and physiology and exercise science. Okay. That's what we do. So that's our job to make those modifications. So if your coach or if your small group class instructor is not providing you with modifications on the spot before the class, if you come up to them and tell them that, again, you might want to reevaluate that relationship and who you're giving your money to. And again, I want to make this clear. I'm not looking for your money. A lot of these people who watch this, obviously, you're never going to train with me in person because I'm here in Vancouver, British Columbia. And most of my training is done online these days. But I'm just telling you for people out there who are in group classes, who are working with coaches, is don't be afraid to second guess things and think, what am I paying for here? Yeah, my coach is great. Great. You have a great coach. Coach corrects your form, corrects your technique. But man, I really don't like when he makes me set up my own circuits because I'm really tired after a circuit. I need a second to recover, but now I have to set up the next circuit. Or I have to tear down the bench and I have to put up, go get my dumbbells. And I just did a drop set. I don't want to go pick up 60-pound dumbbells and bring them back over. I'm tired because that's going to impact your performance. But if you have someone who's doing that for you, now you can rest and you can use that rest to your advantage. And that's my whole point here. But if you're spending time cleaning dumbbells, fetching dumbbells, setting up your own circuits, tearing down your own circuits, at that point, just join a commercial gym and become a member because that's what members do, or that's what members should do. If you are a member of a gym, yes, you should clean up after yourself. You should be setting up your own stations. You should be very respectful of other members in the gym because that is not part of the service that you're paying for. You're paying to work in a somewhat clean environment, I imagine. You're paying to make sure that, the machines are well kept, the cables all work, the dumbbells are in working order. Obviously, yes, but you are also expected to have common courtesy for your fellow members and clean up after yourself. And that's why I said at the beginning of this video, this list does not apply to you if you are a member of a commercial gym. All right. But if you are someone who pays the extra for the one-on-one attention from a private training session with a personal trainer, or you do pay extra for a small group class, then in my opinion, you should not be expected to do any of these things on this list, period. Agree with me? Don't agree with me? Let me know in the comments. Love to hear from you, whether you're a trainer yourself, small group class instructor, maybe you yourself are a client. All right. And, tell me, I think I should be responsible for that. Okay. Tell me why though. And again, I go back to that analogy about the restaurant because I come from a restaurant background. I worked in restaurants and I could never imagine telling a customer, yeah, go cook your own steak in the back. I could never imagine telling someone, oh, you're done with your meal. Go take the dishes to the dish pit and wash them. They look at me like I'm insane. Okay. So to me, the same thing applies in the fitness industry. It's that simple. It really is. So that's my opinion. And I'm sorry if this went on a little bit of a tangent here, but I felt like I had to get it off my chest because I've seen it for years. And like I said, it didn't really, it bothered me, but not too much. But then when I had one of my own clients telling me that she experienced it, I'm like, well, you know better than that. You've worked with me for, God, 15 years. I've never ever asked you to clean up after yourself. I've never asked you to set up your own stations. And granted, I know we work in a one-on-one capacity, but you've also worked with me. This person's worked with me in group classes and knows the same thing. The same level of service is there. All right. So that's not me just tooting my own horn here. I know there's other trainers, other fantastic trainers out there who share the same belief as I do. I know because I've trained alongside them. Okay. So I know there's lots of trainers out there who don't do this and don't make their clients set up their own stations or clean up their own stations. Okay. Or expect to make their own modifications, exercises. Okay. Because they understand that they're providing a level of service to their customers. Okay. And they want to make sure that level of service is up here, not down here. If you're okay with offering a mediocre service, all the power to you. And if you, your client, are okay with receiving a mediocre service, all the power to you. But for those of us who want to actually excel in the gym and want to continue to achieve results with our health and our physique, make sure that your coach or your group class instructor is not making you do any of those five things on that list. Anyway, that's it for this week's Coaching Reality episode. This episode will be going out on Wednesday, August the 12th. As a reminder, if you have any questions related to your nutritional plan, workout program, supplements you are currently taking, not taking, or considering taking, please feel free to email me at nick@foreverfitperformance.com, or you can DM me on my Instagram at fitcosgrove_. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for supporting the YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I do appreciate all the support and all the feedback that I receive from each and every single one of you. Don't forget to check out the No Filter Q&A that dropped earlier this week on Monday, along with my YouTube shorts that come out every other day. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next week. Bye for now.